Hello everyone, today we have new video review, another one, and I think that will be the last one today. Nevertheless, we are going to check another aircraft scale. As you can see, that's a 1/48 scale. This is a relatively fresh release from ICM, and as you can see, it copies Dornier 217N-1. So I wrote it wrong in the title. Maybe I will be able to correct it now, maybe not. Yes, I am, so just give me a second. Okay, so it is corrected or not? Yeah, it is. So now you should be able to see it. We have here the fresh release from Ukrainian company. It is molded in 1/48 scale, just to remind you, and it should be already available for purchase in any good model shop. I think Modelimex should have it for sure. So if you would like to order it straight away, just go to their website. First of all, box size is quite big, and you can see it here in comparison with my hand. It is also quite thick box. Here you can see it from another side. So here we have some information about the kit, by the way. So this is a short history note, and here is the detailed info about the plastic kit itself. So there are 233 parts inside, and the wingspan will be 396 millimeters, which is quite impressive even for 1/48 scale kit. Then here on this side we can see the marking option. It is the same as what we saw on the box art here. So the box structure is typical for this manufacturer, so just give me a second to lift it somehow because it's a tight fit. And in the meantime, I would like to say that I found quite an interesting feature. We get the donations via PayPal on our website, so those donations go directly to us. But you can also donate via YouTube, so if you get the new version of the live stream page, there is a donate button as well, but this way you will be donating also to the YouTube. We will be getting the share of the donation, so in case this is more useful for you, you can also choose this donation option. Now I'm battling with this box because it's a bit tricky to open it. You can hear it, I suppose, but I think we will open it in a second. Here you can see that it's really tight fitment, and I'm trying to open it. I'm shaking even the camera, but yeah, it is tearing in the angles. So box structure is typical. We have this thin color printed top section, and then we have this sturdy white cardboard box which actually carries all the necessary parts. So here you can see those parts. They are also wrapped with this, with this rubber band. So all frames, actually there are two plastic bags as you can see. So all frames are here, and on the bottom we have assembly manual which will be checked later. I think there is no point to start with assembly manual without checking the plastic parts. So here they are. And by the way, I think also assembly manual houses the decals sheet, which is also traditional feature for ICM kits. Okay, so here is the rubber band, and we are going to start with this top plastic bag. Then we will move to the second one. Just give me a second. It's a reopenable plastic bag, so it can be used later if you would like to. And now we are going to open it. Okay, so the first plastic sprue is here. And as you can see, this one is dedicated to engine gondolas. We can zoom a bit more so that you can see it closer. And in my opinion, molding quality here is typical for ICM kits, so we get nicely molded, pre-molded detailing here, which should look even better after you carefully paint it. Note that no section is molded as one-piece part. That's a really nice feature, especially in big scale, in the big size, because you won't have an ugly seams in such visible area. Of course we have recessed panel lines and riveting here, and if we flip it over here you can notice the guiding pins which should help you with alignment as well. So that's cool with those engine gondolas, and we can proceed to the next parts. Next we have small plastic bag with clear elements, so I'm going to open it. Okay, here we have one piece canopy part and also some other clear elements which will be used for the assembly process. Again, molding quality looks fine. I can zoom in a bit more so that you can see these parts closer. Masks are not included, so you have to buy an aftermarket set or maybe cut your own. It will be a bit tedious process because you remember that Dornier canopy has a lot of clear sections, so be ready for this. Okay, next we have this plastic sprue. As you can see, this one is dedicated to various internal and external elements. For example, here you can see the instrument panel and machine guns. Again, no matter which size the part is, it looks really good, and I don't see any flash on this part. So for example, we can zoom in here and you will be able to see this instrument panel, also some other elements, and everything looks fine. I don't see any issue at all. So here you can see also some of the wing mechanization, pilot seats which are molded as one-piece elements, and here we have also some of the internal elements for the cockpit. In 1/48 scale, I think it's really crucial to have at least some of the cockpit parts, so it's cool that ICM decided to include as many as it was possible and not to omit them to some weird, let's say, placeholders. Here we have wing parts, and as you remember, this model will have quite a huge wingspan, and that's why we have 3 parts. We have separate ailerons here, but as far as I can see, flaps are serving as a guiding element. So if we flip it over, as you can see, we have those teeth. So maybe they will be placed separately, by the way. From what I can see, maybe they can be positioned retracted. We have to check the next plastic bag, where manufacturer actually hidden other parts, so just give me a second. Here it is. Let's open it. Okay, so here, as far as you can see, we have 3 plastic sprues. Okay. First 2 are absolutely identical, so that's not the camera lock. As you can see, there is absolutely similar set of parts. Why? Because here we get parts for the engines and engine gondolas, and also landing gear system. So as you can see, we have these huge landing gear wheels, engine parts, and note that both engines are detailed out of the box. So unlike some famous manufacturers, here ICM decided to include both engines, and then it will be your choice whether to show them or to hide them or to use them in some other projects. I mean, just giving your ideas. But what I would recommend to do is to replace these landing gear wheels, because in this scale it will be noticeable. So if you have a chance to get some nice aftermarket resin replacement, do it and you will be happy with the result. If we flip it over, here inside in the engine parts, we can see that there are some guiding elements. The same can be said about these cooling parts. And another nice feature is this propeller, which is attached on 2 attachment points, so it should be relatively easy to separate it and have it ready for the assembly. And then we have last gray plastic sprue. This one is dedicated to large, pretty large fuselage halves. So let's position it like this. Feel free to write in the chat what do you think about it as I wrote, so I will be happy to discuss it with you. So first of all, here we have the tail segment, which is assembled out of separate parts, otherwise it would be nearly impossible to copy it. Here we have also the lower fuselage section, which is molded as a one-piece part. Again, it should help you to get a more convincing finish, but I think that's the top section actually, which is placed here. We will see in assembly manual. Here we have also some of the interior parts, and if we flip over this plastic sprue, then here inside we can see the guiding elements which should help you with placement. Also we have minor detailing in the tail area here and here, special guiding tabs for the cockpit elements, and also guiding pins are present on the tail wing parts as well. And note this nice ribbed surface on the top section, which will be, I can guess it will be visible on in some situations, maybe through the open bomb bay. Okay, next we have assembly manual. So here it is. This one is printed in form of large brochure. It's not surprising for ICM. I would say that it's a typical style for this brand. And as you can see, we have short history note in Russian and English, technical specifications, safety note, and also paint chart. Next, we have the parts map. And note that here all the parts will have to be used. And what I just removed is the decals sheet. So as you can see, decals sheet carries all necessary symbols, even decals for the instrument panel. As far as I can guess, there should be at least 2 marking options from what I can see. Again, for the cockpit, if you would like to have something more than the dashboard decals, just go for PE from Edward and it will be a noticeable change. Here we use all the parts as well, so basically all the parts we saw on the plastic sprues, you will have to use them for this build. Nothing will be stored as a spare parts. Everything starts with cockpit here, so we also work on the cockpit walls here, and as you can see, then you will have to combine all those elements together. Then we continue with installation of this lower section, as far as you can see. Here we install various walls inside. Again, another side wall in the cockpit area. Then we join fuselage halves together. Next we continue with nose area. As you remember, it is molded as a one-piece part, so it should be relatively easy to install it. Here we join also the front wall into the nose area. Here you install the tail landing gear wheel. Here we join the wing parts. As you remember, they're molded or divided into 3 elements, so that's why we join first the lower fuselage section and then we add the 2 top halves. As far as you can guess, actually this will be the bottom halves. What I would recommend to do here is to add some support, extra support, because as you can see, manufacturer suggests that this tab will be actually enough to hold the wing parts. I'm not that optimistic, so I would rather recommend to add some metal rod here in order to provide more support for the wing parts and to save the alignment for the future, because I mean it can be slightly bent during the time, with the time. Here we continue with the tail surfaces. As you can see, they will be glued out of separate parts as well, and that's not a quick assembly, I would say, because a lot of parts will have to be glued together. Here we install it into the place, and as far as you can see, these lines should copy the actual panel lines on the real aircraft, so you won't have to be worried about it as long as you get the nice fitment in this area. Then we continue with propeller, and next we have quite an interesting choice. So as you can see, it gives us the choice between, I think it depends on whether you would like to assemble the engine gondola with the engine or without the engine. So it's cool that they decided to mark it like this, so you can have a clear choice. Here, by the way, you can see the assembly process for the engine. Next we continue with installation of those special exhaust tubes. And why I'm a bit confused, because I'm watching, I think this one is related to the assembly without engine, and this one obviously it concerns the engine, it includes the engine into the actual process. Then again we do the same stuff for both versions, because it will be concerned with the landing gear system. Here we add the engine gondolas onto the wing, and it will be quite an interesting step in my opinion. So this large part, as I said before, it is actually the bottom of the aircraft, and as you can see, then if you open the bomb bay, you have to use the different part as well, as far as you can see. So again we have a choice whether we assemble the closed version or the open version. Next we build the various walls inside the bomb bay, so as you can see it will look like this, and actually the fuel tank is visible once those doors are open. Here we install the landing gear doors, that's for the tail landing gear. Next we continue with various walls in the cockpit, the machine gunner section. Here we install the canopy, also another machine gunner turret. Then we continue with the barrels for the machine gun. I'm just looking how many parts you have to combine together in order to get all this stuff. Here we, for example, work on the antennas, and then you will have to install these antennas, but note that antennas are actually glued out of separate pieces, so it will be quite a funny process to do. Then here we have the stencil placements guide. So in total you have to perform 85 steps, but it will be quite a complex build in my opinion. Here we have first two marking options. One comes from spring 1943, this one is from summer 1933, and here we have two more. That's a Denmark 1944 and late 1943 in this quite unusual black color, I would say. Maybe some modders will choose to copy this option. So that's all for this assembly manual. In my opinion, this is definitely not a beginner's choice, because as you can see there will be a lot of, I would say not the complex but quite sophisticated building steps, so you will have to be ready for this and you will have to have some experience in order to be able to assemble it. But otherwise it looks like a nice kit, especially if you consider that there are no viable alternative in the same scale which will copy the same aircraft version with the same level of attention to the small details. Of course, I will be happy to hear your opinion about this kit somewhere here in the comment section below. If you like this video, don't forget to press the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel, which should be somewhere there, and click together with the bell button, because it will ensure that you will be notified about any fresh video reviews. And I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining us today, and bye.